Are you generating leads right now, but you want to turn more of them into buyers with less effort? Well, if that's you, there is a new AI that's helping people convert 200% more leads into paying customers and clients. And it's helping businesses just like yours replace sales teams and make millions of dollars in the process. And today, I'm going to show you how this works, why you need it, and I'm also going to break down the process into 3 simple steps so that you can implement this right after watching this video. Now, before we get started, let me tell you about this client that we're going to use for this example. Now, this client that we helped generates thousands of leads every single month. And before, they had a team of 15 sales reps calling, texting, emailing, chasing leads manually. Now, like every other business, they knew that there was a better way. They just hadn't figured that out yet. And by installing this AI into this client's business, we was able to add multi-6 figures into their business in just a few weeks. So let's look at what we actually needed to fix. Now, the biggest problem that they had was their sales team only worked Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. When we looked at the data, we realized that 55% of all of their leads were coming in during evenings and weekends when there was no sales team in place, which meant that over half their pipeline wasn't being contacted for hours, sometimes even days. And here's why that was such a massive problem. Speed to lead is one of the biggest drivers of whether a lead actually becomes a customer. And studies have shown that responding in the first 1 minute increases your chances of conversions by 391%. After 5 minutes, your chances of signing that person up drop by 80%. And 35 to 50% of all sales go to the first company that responds. Buyers now expect a reply within 10 minutes. So if over half of your leads are coming in when your team isn't even working, you're essentially losing out on most of your pipeline before you even talk to them. And the scary thing is, most people are completely unaware of this. And let me show you another hidden problem. If 55% of your leads are coming in outside of hours, you're basically increasing your cost per acquisition by the exact percentage of leads that you failed to respond to fast enough. And in the example of this client, with the volume that they were doing, this meant that they were wasting hundreds of thousands of dollars every single month just because they couldn't contact their leads instantly. So with hopefully the problem painfully clear now, I want to show you how we actually fix this using AI. Now, we already knew that nothing with this client worked on autopilot, and their entire lead flow was only as good as the humans that were managing it, aka the sales team. So we rebuilt the way that they spoke to their leads. And what we did was we built an AI system that now responds to every single prospect within 10 seconds. And it does that directly through WhatsApp as well as SMS. And it doesn't matter whether it's 11 p.m. on a Friday, it's Monday at 9 a.m., or it's Saturday at 5 a.m. The AI responds instantly, matching the timing of the leads, not the schedule of the sales team. And let me show you the results that we actually got from doing this. Every single lead is now contacted in under 10 seconds. We're getting a 50% response rate on the first message. We're also collecting every single conversation and feeding that data straight back into marketing, which is then improving the front end and the volume that we're actually pushing into the system in the first place. And like I said, this client added multi-6 figures per month in new revenue just from this system alone. Their sales team now speak to only high quality leads, and they've now got a system that they can actually confidently scale. And if you're watching this video, I hope you now understand that this is a non-negotiable for your business. You need to have this in place. If you're selling services online, if you're generating leads, but you don't have AI starting these conversations with everyone, you are literally setting cash alight and wasting so much money. So look, what are the steps for you to actually start implementing something like this into your business from today? Well, step 1 is we need to get really clear on what the goal is. Now, before you can start automating anything, you need total clarity on what you actually want your leads to do. Now, most people will jump straight into these crazy complex tools and bots. And the problem with this is if you don't know the final destination, you then can't build a system that actually helps take people there. So I want you to think of this step as your blueprint. And first, what we're going to do is define the one outcome that actually matters the most. Now, for example, that could be booking appointments, that could be getting people to complete a quote, that could be getting people to attend a webinar, selling a low ticket product, moving them into a VSL call funnel. It could be getting them to answer key qualification questions before they do anything else. And honestly, there is no right answer on this. It completely depends on your business. But the second part of this, we then need to map out the steps that we actually want our leads to take. What are those smaller steps they need to take to actually turn into a buyer? For example, maybe they submit their details, then they receive a message, then they respond, then they go through qualification questions, then they confirm whether they want to book a meeting or an appointment, and then they either book and the AI can either serve them a booking link or a purchase link. But once we know that final goal and the steps leading up to it, the AI's job then becomes much, much easier. Its only job is to move people through these different steps as efficiently as possible. So look, once we have the blueprint of what the AI needs to do, what is the next step? Now, the next step is just to make sure that every single lead gets a response within seconds and not hours. Now, here's a rule that I follow. When a lead comes in, send a personalized message instantly. Not in an hour, not when you get around to it, not when your sales team clocks in. Do it instantly. And it doesn't matter what tech you're using on this. What matters is that the message fires automatically, it feels human, it starts a conversation, and it works 24/7, evenings, weekends, and holidays. Now, to give you a bit of an insight, the highest converting opener that we've tested across all of our different clients is a simple yes or no question. Because really all we're trying to do here is just get the prospect to respond to us. Now, a couple of examples of this is it could be, Mark, is this the right number to reach you on? Tom, what would help you most right now, X or Y? Or it could be, Sam, are you still looking for help with X? We really need something super easy that they can then respond to. We don't want them thinking loads. We don't want them getting confused and having to think about their answer. We just want that response. So we want something super simple. And once they reply, the entire conversation then opens up to us. We can then get way more detail. And what we have to do is we have to constantly remember this study where responding in the first 1 minute to every lead increases our conversions by 391%. 35 to 50% of sales go to the first company that responds. So this one step fixes 80% of all of our speed to lead problems without anything else. And the best part is you can set this up without any AI at all. This step is just an automation. The AI then comes in after this in step 3. So look, what is that step? Well, step 3 is letting the AI actually warm up your leads before a human team then starts to interact with them. But this is where things do get really interesting. Instead of you having a sales team chasing cold leads, we can actually let AI do all of the heavy lifting here. Now, most businesses honestly waste 80% of their time speaking to people that just shouldn't be on the diary and they're never ever going to buy. But instead of us now using human time to do that and to go and learn this, AI can now do it all for us. So the way that I see it is AI sits in this funnel-like structure and it acts as a filter and a warm-up layer above the humans. And what that means is it allows 80% of those wasted conversations to happen here, and then 20% of the top prospects actually go through and speak to a human. Now, here's how that actually works. Step 1, AI starts the conversation. So the moment a lead opts in, AI is sending that personalized opener that feels natural, and that then creates that immediate engagement. Step 2 is then the AI is going to ask really simple qualification questions. So not crazy long surveys. What we usually do is just take any qualification questions that we've got in any surveys or forms on our website. And if we know they're the questions that we need to ask, what we do is we get the AI bot to actually serve them in a way where it feels more like a conversation. And by doing this then tells us who's serious and who's not just by how they're responding. Now, step 3, AI can then handle those objections and answer questions. So think about the objections that your prospects actually have. You know, how does this work? Is this right for me? What does this cost? What's the process? I've been burnt before by people like you. And if we know all of these objections, what we can do is make sure that the AI is responding in a way that's actually pre-handling these objections before they even get brought up on a call. Now, the 4th step is then AI only passes the top 20% of these leads to humans. So once the AI knows their goals, their budget, their urgency, their intent, we can then let it decide what to do next. So if they're qualified, it could recommend booking a call. If they're not ready, maybe it moves them to a low ticket offer or a different email nurture campaign if they need more time. AI can then continue that conversation. That means you only speak to people who are actually ready, they're interested, and they're actually capable of buying. Now, let me show you where most people mess this up. What they try to do is they try to build huge complex automations, crazy long scripts, complicated logic inside of these bots, and they try to replace everything way too early. Now, you don't need to do any of that. All AI needs to do is, number 1, get a response. Number 2, answer the prospect's questions. 3, qualify them further. And 4, push them into the next step if they're a good fit. We just want to maximize every single lead we generate, reduce the bad friction that's inside of our funnel, reduce the need for crazy volume, and increase the quality of the leads that we actually get. So instead of you having to chase every single lead with a sales team that's desperate to make commissions, all you have to do is let AI filter out the shit leads, educate the good ones, and warm people up for you, meaning your human team only has to speak to the top 20%. And with that, you then have a system that's actually scalable. Now, the problem is once you fix this speed to lead problem, you're going to run into the next bottleneck, almost immediately. If you get this AI installed, your team isn't going to be able to keep up with all these conversations that your system's now generating. That is honestly where most businesses fall apart. So in this video right here, I'm going to show you how we're using AI inside of our company, not just to reply instantly, but to nurture leads, qualify them, and follow up automatically.